How'd you get my house? That's creepy. Don't sneak up on me like that. But while you're here, I guess I should tell you, on November 27th, 2020, we will be having a massive Black Friday sale. The entire store will be 25% off. Click redeem at the top of the page to get the savings. Also, on the same day, we will be releasing a limited edition holiday TML merch design, which will be available on t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, and beanies. So go get that as well. It'll only be available for 1 month. So go, check out the new stuff, and get some sweet, sweet savings on some TML merch. And enjoy the rest of the video, which I'm not even done editing. Why are you here? Cars. Cars. Can't live with them, can't live without them, except we like them. So, you know, there's that. But what's next? We've had the same formula for cars, I guess you could call it, for generations. What's next for the car? We're doing this video because A, the Hummer was just announced, the new Hummer EV, and it was pretty impressive, and B, I really wanted to cement that this truly is a podcast about whatever we wanted to talk about. So without further ado, welcome to It's Not
What It Looks Like, the podcast about all the things.
All of them. And this is where the intro goes. This is where I put that stuff. This is where the intro goes. This is where it goes. Alright. So, what's going on, guys? Today, welcome back to TML. Welcome back to It's Not What It Looks Like. Today, somebody just opened the basement door, and today, we're doing a podcast about what is next for cars. So, as you can see, I'm joined by my good friend Tait again. You might remember him.
Hello.
You might remember him from the Can We Guess These Cars by Their Taillights video.
Where I made a complete fool of myself.
It happens, man. It happens. I'm still just shocked I won. Like,
it's a funny video, though.
It's a funny video. It is a funny video.
Hey, I gave you a freaking Honda Accord at the end, man.
So, a little bit of a disclaimer. We are doing this over Wi-Fi. I'm literally screen capping Discord right now. So, if there's some latency in his face cam or in his audio, sound quality, whatever, that's just how it goes. Can't really avoid that, unfortunately. So, but
There've also been some internet outages in my area recently, so
yeah.
We'll see.
Oh well. But we decided to sit down in our TML t-shirts and have a little think. We're like, hey, let's... Yeah, he's got it. I got mine. And be like, hey, what's next for cars? Because the reason he's in this video, the reason he was in the taillight video is because he and I both love cars. You know, I mean, I got the Batmobile sitting right here. Like,
I've got that poster over there, and then a couple along the wall opposite of me.
Not to mention you're using you're using a Corvette flag as a curtain.
C5 Corvette.
So anyway, so like the big thing we have to talk about if we're talking about the future of the automotive industry is the Hummer.
Yeah.
Like the Hummer.
I'm excited for where that's going.
Me too. I mean, for those of you who don't know, GMC just put out the all-new Hummer EV with some really, really incredible specs. Like, huge range, crazy 0 to 60, what was it, like, sub 3 seconds?
Yeah, in WTF mode, or Watts of Freedom,
yeah,
it's sub 3 seconds.
I love that
supposedly. I don't know if they tested that.
I don't know. I mean, I guess they probably have.
I feel like if they're saying it and they have a prototype, I feel like they've had to have tested it.
For real, yeah. If they have a driving prototype already, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Like, this car has some incredible specs, and the most amazing thing about this new Hummer is it's completely electric. And it's kind of shocking because GM went ahead and they made their most underperforming gas-guzzling car of all time and made it their car with the lowest 0 to 60 of any GM vehicle, as well as probably the most fuel-efficient vehicle GM has.
Yeah, and what's crazy to me is they built the original H1 Hummer for war, and now this Hummer has a ton of comforts that the original Hummer couldn't have even thought of because it was meant to just get people places reliably.
Yeah. I mean, well, like, that's the other thing, though. Like, it still has a lot of that stuff. It still has, like, the armor plating on the undercarriage. It still has...
And it has adjustable suspension still, which is a nice throwback to the original Hummers.
It has the 4 anchor points for, like, being airdropped. Which anybody who airdrops... I
didn't know that.
Yeah, it still has the 4 anchor points on the front and back bumper for being airdropped by a helicopter. Which is hilarious to me, because anybody who airdrops their $112,000 Hummer EV is insane.
Yeah, they either have a ton of money and can afford a helicopter and a Hummer, or they're a little off.
Yeah, like, seriously. But no, it's really interesting, and ever since it's come out, it's raised a lot of questions. Is like, what's next? I mean, we've had Tesla for a long time, and their prototypes have been kind of showing us what's on the forefront, what's on the rise. But I mean, at the same time, Teslas aren't super attainable. They aren't super affordable, and everything.
Well, and now Tesla is making claims about 2 of their newest cars, the Cybertruck and the Roadster, the new model of the Roadster. It's supposedly coming out. Well, it was supposed to come out a while ago, and they still haven't proven to us that it's coming out anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, the Roadster was supposed to come out, like, what, 2018? Didn't they unveil it, like, the year before?
I think it was 2019. I think they said it was 2019 or...
Well, then, like, the Cybertruck was supposed to come out this year. Like, both of those cars...
Yeah, but it hasn't.
Both of those cars have not come out.
People are still $200 out for their pre-order, and there's no sign of them getting any benefit from that $200.
Well, here's the thing. Like, there was, like, Tesla has their referral code where it's like anybody who, you know, if one of your friends goes to buy a Tesla, give them your referral code, so that way they could say, oh, so-and-so is like, oh, you should go get a Tesla, and I think they had a deal where, like, if you had so many referrals, you could get a free Tesla Roadster. I think it was like 75 referrals.
Oh gosh, that's so many though.
It is. But, like, those people...
75 of your friends, unless you're friends with a ton of, like, really wealthy people, you're not going to get 75 friends to buy Teslas.
But there are people out there who got 75 referrals and are now waiting for their free Tesla Roadster, and they've been waiting for upwards of 2 years. So, like, Tesla has the technology, and they're showing us that the technology is there, but they're not giving us the technology, which is kind of funny. I mean, like, we have the Model 3, the Model X, the Model Y, Model S.
Well, now there's, like, I think there's a Model 3 performance variant as well.
Yeah, and then there's the Model S and the Model X also have long-distance variants now, which are really, really cool.
Yeah, and then there's the Roadster. There's still the Roadster that's been around since...
Yeah, like the 2010.
Who knows? A long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, well, 2010 isn't that long ago, man.
Oh my gosh, is it really 2020 already? It's almost 2021. Oh my goodness.
You're just... All right. Tait just realized he graduated. It's kind of fascinating. Look, man, we have the same birthday. If I'm 20, you're 20. It's a thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. But yeah, no, I mean, the Tesla Roadster is really interesting what they're doing with it, because they claimed that they can make a sub 2 second 0 to 60, they've got to figure out, because modern tires aren't even able to do a sub 2 second 0 to 60. You're just going to be spinning them. It doesn't matter if you have all-wheel drive or not. You're you're not gonna have traction off the line.
No, not at all.
And so they're adding little like boosts of air off the back to try to get it into a roll so that it can actually grip.
Which is smart, but at the same time, we are not seeing that technology. Like,
right,
people,
exactly.
like the day that the Tesla Roadster was announced is the same night as the Tesla semi-truck, and they actually let a few people ride in it, and people like took like the distance and everything and calculated the 0 to 60.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even hit sub 3.
Yeah,
during that.
Yeah,
which, I mean, don't get me wrong, like 3 seconds is still incredibly impressive.
Right, yeah.
Like, I mean, to have a Hummer that can get 0 to 60 in 3 seconds is ridiculous.
That's so baffling.
I know. Well, like, we were talking about this the other night, how baffling it is that there is now a Hummer and a Mustang in the same segment of the car industry.
That still hurts.
Thanks to the Mach-E, which you and I both have our opinions on.
Well, my personal opinion is that I'd be happy to call it the Mach-E. It's not a Mustang.
Yeah, no. It's... well, we also both have very differing opinions on, like, 90s Mustangs. Like, they're a fine car, I just wish they didn't call it Mustangs. Teen Titans Go was a fine show, I just wish it wasn't Teen Titans. You know, like...
Yeah.
The Mach-E seems like great...
the Fox body.
See, that's where we disagree. I don't like it, but...
Yeah, I love them.
But no, like, the Mach-E seems like a great electric SUV, I just wish it wasn't a Mustang.
Exactly.
You know, but it's funny because thanks to the Mach-E and now the Hummer EV, there is a market where a Mustang and a Hummer are direct competitors, and even more baffling, the Hummer outperforms the Mustang.
That's
It's what a world we live in. You know what I mean? Like, this is happening. But no, because it's just like the Hummer has started to raise a lot of questions. Like, what is next? I mean, there's an old Robin Williams bit that I love talking about, like alternate fuels. It's like, you know, methane's great. I know it's hard to do, hold the chicken over the gas tank, but like, you know, there's a lot of height.
I mean, electric cars are in the future. I know that there will be electric cars in the future, but I don't know that they're exactly what needs to be the future. Because everyone talks about how clean they are, but they don't look at what goes into making the batteries. Because the cars themselves, the motors themselves, are actually pretty clean compared to making... I mean, they're about the equivalent of making a gas car.
Yeah.
Granted, the engine's probably going to take a bit more. And the batteries do last supposedly twice as long as an average car. But if you look at how much pollution there is in mining the products that are needed for the battery and disposing of the products that are in the battery, and you also take into account that a lot of our power grid is run by coal, so either way you're charging up your Tesla with coal. And granted, a charge on an electric vehicle is going to be way less pollution than a tank of gas. It's still going to pollute.
Yeah. Like, there are still things to consider with driving electric cars. Like, it is not a straight up, it's like, oh, my carbon footprint, I bought a Tesla. I haven't even driven it yet, but I bought a Tesla, which means my carbon footprint is now 0. I don't have to worry about that ever again. No, like, there is still things. I mean, the repair shop. When you take your Tesla into the shop, it's going to put out a little bit of pollution to fix that car, especially like body shop machines and stuff like that.
Here's the thing, if Teslas truly last as long as the company says, and I haven't seen any evidence to prove them wrong, but they also haven't shown any evidence to prove themselves right, as long as they do last as long as they say they do, it should work out in their favor, but I really do want to see some proof of it before I go into Teslas are great.
Same here. I mean, to bring it back to the Hummer, like, we're saying a lot of great things about the Hummer right now. At this point, though, nobody's really driven one. I mean, Doug DeMuro did a video on the new Hummer EV.
Well, but there's a YouTuber that I watch. Her name's Amelia Hartford. She did a video on it as well.
One of my favorite YouTubers, Jerry Rig Everything, a guy named Zach.
Yeah.
I love his videos. He did a whole video on the Hummer EV, and I like his videos because normally he does like phone teardowns, so he got into a lot more detail than like Doug's going, "Oh wow, this has a lot of clearance here," and I'm like, I don't really care about that. Like,
is that where you found out about the what is it, the Sea of Tranquility on all the parts of the Hummer?
No, actually, it's kind of funny because in Doug's video he just calls it, "Oh, apparently this is part of the moon. It's like a moonscape," and Zach's like, "This is actually a topographical map of the Sea of Tranquility, where the moon lunar lander landed." And I'm like, "Wow, thanks. I'm glad I have Zach's video."
That's a bit better than the original.
I'm glad I have Zach's video to be like, this is what wasn't covered. But
Doug's a good YouTuber, though.
Yeah. But no, like, the point of it is, though, like, we've seen the Hummer, but, like, in the end, we don't really know a ton about it. We're talking, like, oh, yeah, I have one sitting out in the driveway, and it's great, I love it. But,
right.
like, neither of us are there. I don't have a car, you drive a Saab. Like,
the Saab is definitely advanced for its time.
For its time. What year is yours?
For its time.
03?
2004.
2004?
2004 was not an advanced time. So having a car advanced for its time from 16 years ago, not very advanced.
No, in 2004, my mom was driving a Chevy Lumina and a Dodge Intrepid.
All right.
Who remembers the Intrepid?
The Intrepid is
It's a car.
It's a car.
It's a car. We had a nickname for it because it broke down a lot. We called it the Increpid.
Oh, I feel like I remember you telling me this.
Probably at some point, yeah. And then I grew up most of my childhood with PT Cruisers. My mom and my dad both had PT Cruisers. So most of my young childhood
My grandma had a PT Cruiser.
Well, I mean, my mom and dad both also had manual PT Cruisers. They were both stick. So they're a little better.
That sounds fun.
A little better.
Oh, yeah. Just a little. Honestly, I was kind of looking at for my next car. I was thinking about maybe getting one of them turbo ones with the 2.4 liter.
One of my friends who actually just lives a few blocks away from me has one of the turbo. I think he has the automatic turbo, but he has a turbo.
They came in automatic?
Yeah, briefly, I think. I know he has one of the turbo models. He has one of the limiteds, but yeah. It also doesn't have the original rims. It has rims off of an HHR, which is hilarious to me.
Seriously?
Seriously.
He took the rims off. Oh my god.
The previous owner did.
He took the rims off the direct competitor.
Yeah, for real. I remember when the HHR first came out and I saw it from the front. I'm like, oh, it's a PT. Oh no, it's actually just crap.
Yeah, my grandma had a PT and she said that was her favorite car. She loved it. Well, she went on vacation and rented out my grandpa and grandma went on vacation and rented out a Chevy HHR because they're like, oh, it looks like a PT Cruiser. It should drive the same.
It's gotta be similar.
And they said that it has terrible blind spots compared to the PT Cruiser.
It was funny. So similar.
It drove fine otherwise, but they didn't like it because of the blind spots.
Similarly, for a lot of my younger childhood life, my grandfather on my dad's side had like a Buick LeSabre from like '99, which honestly, that car was gorgeous. The '99 Buick LeSabres, they still had the chrome handles and everything. I want one. Those things were gorgeous.
Buick always knew how to make a luxury car.
Yeah. Like, even in the 90s when cars all looked identical, Buick was like, we're going to make this one pretty. But
I mean, I know I technically drive a luxury car. Luxury cars are not my go-to.
Yeah.
I do technically drive one, but I appreciate a good luxury car.
Don't worry, I won't tell the audience that you had a Hyundai Tiburon before it, so it's...
Oh, dude, that thing was lit. If that thing was manual, that thing would be sitting outside right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It wasn't manual, that's where it had to go.
But no, he so when I was growing up, he had a 98, 99 Buick LeSabre, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And when he was looking at a new car, the HHR was just coming out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I like how it looks. It reminds me of the older vehicles." Because with the HHR and the SSR, Chevy's like, "Oh, let's get back to our roots. Well, that was a weird, like, burp.
Well, that's how the PT Cruiser was, too.
Well, yeah.
And the Plymouth Prowler.
Yeah, I love the Plymouth Prowler. I'm sorry. So many people...
Oh, that thing is beautiful.
So many people... Yeah, so many people give the Prowler crap. I love that car. I don't know.
Granted, if it came with a V8 instead of a V6, it would be just that much better.
True.
But
I don't like...
what it is beautiful.
The only thing with the Prowler I don't like is that the speedometer's in the center of the car. It's
like
very,
a Mini Cooper.
Yeah, it's very old school. The speedometer's like in the... Well, Mini Coopers now have the digital gauge cluster just like everything else.
Right, well, I have a friend...
Yeah.
Who's also in Miles, and he used to have a 2005 Mini Cooper, and then his family owned a 2015 Mini Cooper, which still had the speedometer in the middle, but it also had the digital in the cluster.
Yeah, yeah. So... But no, so like the HHR had just come out at this point, and my grandpa's like, oh, it reminds me of, you know, the old days and everything else. So he was looking at 3 cars at the time, I remember. One of them was way out of his price range, but it was like one of those dream attainable cars. It was the Dodge Magnum. Which,
oh, yeah.
Those SRT Magnums, horrible blind spots, but really cool looking. Really cool looking.
I mean, the Dodge SRT lineup has always been pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
And the Dodge SRT4, the neon, the neon community won't accept it, and the SRT4 community will not call it a neon. It's a neon.
It's a neon. It's a really cool neon.
Beautiful car.
It's a really cool neon.
So fast.
Yeah.
What it is.
But no, so and then I hate that the Magnum was replaced with the Caliber. It's like, oh, you like this one? Well, here's the bad one.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's looking at the Magnum.
Yeah, Magnum did look awesome.
He was looking at the Magnum. He'd already said no to that one, and then he test drove the HHR, which was going to be the one he got. He test drove it, came home, and he's like, I'm not getting that. I am not getting that car. He's like, it's horrible blind spots all the way around and everything else, and he kept doing research, and the Buick was just having more and more issues because it was getting up there in age. And finally, he bought a brand new 2007 black PT Cruiser.
Yeah.
So there was a time in my life when we had 3 PT Cruisers in our family. And then, just to cement that, right after my grandpa gets it, my mom's friend from work, Valerie, got a PT Cruiser. So there was a time in my life where I saw 4 PT Cruisers regularly.
Okay, I mean, the Cruiser, it was, in the car community, it's still made fun of because it's, like, meant to be a kind of a nod to previous cars back in, like, the 40s and the 30s and stuff like that. And it never really quite captured that. Mm-hmm. But outside of the car community, outside of the car community that actually criticizes them, it is such a beloved car by so many people. And I wish that Mopar would bring it back. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I remember the original concept for the PT Cruiser was actually like a really low-to-the-ground 2-door sports car. It was the original concept for the
quite a bit cooler because... Well, it was quite a bit cooler, first of all, because it was designed by Chip Foose.
Yeah.
Second of all, because it was actually trying to go back to those original cars, the ones that it did try to do a nod towards, but they really tried in those original designs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, like, we're talking about the future of the automotive industry, and it's really starting to seem like the future of the automotive industry is what we did before, just better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and like, I mean, that's kind of the idea behind the PT Cruiser. That's the idea behind the Plymouth Prowler.
It was the idea behind the HHR, the SSR, which I have a soft spot for the SSR. Don't ask me why.
Okay, the SSR. If you get, I think is it the SSRR or there's some.
It was like the last model year, the very last model year.
But it was so cool.
Yeah.
Because it came with an LS.
Mm-hmm.
It came with the same engine out of the Corvette. I think it was the LS6 out of the C5Z06.
I think so, yeah.
Or maybe it was an LS1 out of the C5 base, but I can't remember.
Either way, it had a Corvette engine.
Yeah, exactly.
You could get... There's a car out there that you can get that has a Corvette engine, a truck bed, and is a truck bed. And is a convertible.
And 2 doors.
And it's a 2-door convertible. It's the weirdest combination.
Oh my gosh.
things.
Oh, but it's so cool.
Oh, it is so cool. It's so cool. It reminds me a lot of the SRT-10, where they're like, let's take the Dodge Ram and see what happens when we put a Dodge Viper engine in it, just for kicks. Just for kicks.
Yeah, why not?
And then there was...
We got money to spend.
Yeah, right. And then the two-door version that only came in stick, the gear shift like up in your face because they needed it to be long enough, being a truck.
Any truck, you get into a truck with a manual, and the gear stick's gonna be like way up here,
right?
And you're just be throwing gears.
Oh my gosh! I remember when I was a kid on the bus, my old bus driver from elementary school had a gear shift. He's sitting there like, you could hear from the back of the bus when he shifted.
There was a manual bus in the school district?
Yeah. So I love how we're talking about the past, the cars, and we're meant to be talking about the future of them. Well, that's what I'm trying to get at, because that's kind of what the future is. Like, we're seeing what are the big attention-grabbing cars right now? The Ford Bronco.
The ones that... Oh, yeah. That one is amazing.
The Hummer.
No doubt about it. The Hummer.
You know,
very true.
The Corvette. It's attention-grabbing nature. It's slowly dying down because it's been out for a bit. It's been out for a minute, but
here's the big thing about the Corvette is it's finally what Zora wanted, and Zora is basically, for the viewers that don't know, Zora is essentially the father of the Corvette. Yeah. He came when the second generation came around, and he had all these ideas to make it mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, two-door sports car, and of course, back then, he wanted it as manual because that was the quicker transmission. But now, automatics are faster, so I guess they decided automatics were the way to go. But we finally kind of went towards what Zora wanted for the second and third gen Corvette.
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely correct. But, like, the thing is, though, like... is that not what we wanted in the past, or what we had in the past, just done better? Because that seems to be what the future of the car industry is becoming. I mean, think about it.
Exactly. It's going, yeah.
I mean, Chevy just put out the Blazer, as okay as it is. Yeah. I think, like, I feel the same way about it as we were talking about earlier. I like it. I think it looks really cool. It's not the Blazer.
Yeah.
It's not a Blazer.
Right. In other countries, they call it the Trailblazer, and I'm not sure if there's models here called the Trailblazer, but it definitely does go...
I'm pretty sure the Trailblazer here is a higher...
It does have a Trailblazer... Well, I know that in foreign countries, I'm pretty sure they're all called the Trailblazer.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, I may be wrong on that one, actually. I was just told by someone who worked in the Chevy dealership, but I feel like you might have been misinformed.
Possibly.
I'm not sure.
Well, like, the thing is...
I'm not going to say that it's facts either way.
I learned to drive...
It definitely does have more of a...
I learned to drive in a Trailblazer, you know, and it's not a Trailblazer either. That's the thing. From somebody who learned to drive in a Trailblazer, it's not really a Trailblazer either. It's a new Chevy SUV.
But here's the thing, though, is the Blazer was, like, the only competition... Well, it was some competition for the Jeep. There was the International Scout... There was the Jeep, and then there was the Blazer, and then eventually there was also the Bronco. The Blazer was kind of a big thing for GM to make, and now they're just kind of making it a family SUV,
which let's face it,
takes away from the whole progress.
But, like, at the same time, I really feel like they gave us what we wanted in the Blazer with the Hummer EV. You know? That's
true. That's very true.
We wanted that open air thing and everything else, and they've given us that. There's the truck bed, there's the open air, you know,
it really is a nice nod back to the H1.
It really is. It really is. And then my favorite part of all of this is it's a better Bronco than the Bronco. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the new Bronco, don't get me wrong, looks great. But
I think my favorite part about the Bronco is that it comes in manual still, and the only way to make that entire situation that they took there better is by adding a V8 option. because then it would literally just be basically old Bronco made new.
Yeah. Honestly, but then, like, also you gotta keep in mind, like, the roof panels, when you take those suckers off, they come with carrying cases, but then they completely ruin your visibility in the back. Because they take up the entire back of the vehicle. The Hummer has, thanks to being an electric vehicle, has a place for them in the front trunk, or the frunk, as Tesla wants us to call it. I refuse!
What's wrong with frunk?
It's the weirdest sounding word. It makes me uncomfy.
But come on, it's been a frunk since Lamborghini and all that back in like the.
Know, but now that now it's like more attainable cars are having frunks now, and I'm like,
yeah, I can see that. I'm just happy that the new Corvette has a frunk and a trunk.
Yeah, that is actually something really impressive.
That's impressive as hell.
Well, like, not only that, but the trunk in the Corvette in the new C8 Corvette can fit the convertible top.
Well, yeah,
which is really
that's always kind of been their thing. When they always have the top that came off, the Targa top, and they would always be able to put it in the trunk. I think ever since, I don't know that the C4 could do it. I think the C4 could do it. Pretty sure the C4 could do it.
The C4 could.
But they've kind of had that as a thing.
Yeah, the Targa top.
They've had that as a thing where you have a place to put it.
Yeah. Like, and it's just kind of amazing to me that being a mid-engine vehicle, there's still space for the Targa top in the trunk. By the engine.
Exactly.
They actually, like, they recently put out a convertible model as well now. Like a soft top convertible model that does that automatically. And I think I was watching Jay Leno's video about it. And the guy he had on was talking about how, like, the only difference between this and the other car, because we'd already built that other car with the Targa top in mind, so structurally it doesn't need to have a roof. So literally, they're both...
That is honestly so smart.
Really. And they're like, both models are legally convertibles.
Because, like, here's the thing. My dream car, C5 Z06, they didn't the Z06 variant, the performance variant, didn't have a Targa top because structurally it couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it couldn't support
deal
its
with
own...
that.
Upside down, the windshield in the back could not support its own weight.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it would have crumbled. And we found that out the hard way when the National Corvette Museum had the sinkhole. Keep in mind, the one car that was the most damaged was a C5 Corvette Spider.
Man, that was a rough day.
It was a sad day.
That was years ago now. When?
Yeah, I think it was 2015. I can't.
Oh my goodness, was it that long ago?
When was the Corvette Museum sinkhole?
February 12th, 2014.
2014.
According to National...
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was 2014. Man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like half this video is just me realizing how much I've aged since events have happened.
Tate, I know it's hard to believe, but there's 5 months until we're 21, okay? I know it seems like you still think you're 15. Listen to me.
Holy crap.
I know.
Oh, man.
But no, so I'm just, like, I feel like the biggest point I've been trying to make this entire time is just that it seems the future of automotive technology is in the past. I mean, obviously, improving upon it. And I think we were talking about, like, what's GM's next move after the Hummer.
And you have an idea that I actually really enjoy now, because I didn't really... The car that you suggested they bring back, at first I thought it was not the prettiest car, and I still don't believe it's the prettiest car.
No, nobody did at the time.
Extended the hood. If they extended the hood just a little bit, if they extended the hood just a little bit, sorry about that.
It's okay.
If they extended the hood just enough, it would look
gorgeous.
Amazing.
For real. Add like 3 inches to the hood line, and it's perfect.
Exactly.
For real.
Well, okay, I feel like we're kind of leaving them in the dark.
Yeah,
so we gotta talk about the car.
So, with GM bringing back the Hummer, it was a very attention-grabbing car. It was one of those things where it's just like, hey, we've made this gas guzzler into the most fuel-efficient car on the market. And it was like this shocking moment. Everybody went, You did what? And because of that, like, right now, the electric car market's in a spot where GM needs to put out another attention grabber. So, like, they can't put out, like, something super affordable yet because there aren't enough people behind the electric car thing. Like, they've gotten the truck people now. The truck people can see that there's a dependable electric alternative. But now GM needs to get people like us. People who are like, I want a sports car. And
here's the thing. I thought I would never actually electric cars for what they are until I saw the Hummer.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we need some of that for people who still think, like, you know, screw electric cars. I always want to have a gas car, which I still do. But I'd be willing to expand to have one electric vehicle now.
Well, no. So what I'm saying is GM's next step has to be something else attention-grabbing before they can start to introduce electric vehicles more and more. And we were talking about what that step would be. Right now, so we were talking about, like, they could bring back a sports car and make it electric, like the Chevelle, the Monte Carlo. We brought up the SS briefly, which the SS, we could do a whole other podcast on the SS. Totally underappreciated car.
Oh, it's so underappreciated and so poorly marketed, which they never intended on selling a lot. That's why they didn't market it right. But if they'd named it the Monte Carlo, so many more units would have sold.
For real. Honestly, I didn't even know the SS existed until one of my friends had one. Like, and it was already 2 years after the SS was canceled.
I had heard about it, but I'd never really, like, known about it. And then the first one I ever saw in person was at the car show at the college that I'm attending, and it was rebadged as a Holden because that's basically what the SS was. It was a Holden that was shipped overseas, just like the GTO, the Pontiac GTO.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely correct. So the big thing is, what car do they bring back? You know what I mean? Like, we talked about those Chevys. And we very quickly realized, like, it really couldn't be any of those. So many of those, like, fan favorites, like the Chevelle and the Nova. Like, people are so up in arms about them. So you need a car that nobody cares about. Or nobody cared about. Right. So then I'm like, well, also, electric cars...
One that I didn't even know existed.
So electric cars are kind of a luxury right now. So instead of doing Chevy, I'm like, what if we went with Cadillac? Because when was the last time Cadillac had a true dedicated sports car? They had high-performing sedans and wagons, but when was the last time they had a true dedicated sports car? Yeah. The CTSV was a very high-performing sedan.
I started suggesting, like, CTSV, ATSV. Now they're having the CTS5 or whatever?
I think something like that, yeah.
Or CT5V or something. Yeah, they're coming out with a lot of weird things, and they're canceling the CTSV, which is unfortunate, but I can see why they're doing it.
But if you think about Cadillac and the cars that they've had and everything else, and when I was thinking about it, I was like, you could do the the XLR or whatever it was called. You could do the CN, which was the CN was the concept car from like 2001. When I thought of this,
stuff like that. Yeah.
When I thought of this little car that from the late 80s, early 90s, that was doomed to fail from the start.
I don't know if you're gonna be able to do this, but you should put it up on the screen when you mention it.
I could totally do it. It's.
Oh, heck yeah!
Don't underestimate my editing prowess, Tate.
Oh no, I figured, but you said you kind of wanted to keep this.
Well, yeah, it's going to be.
I didn't know how much editing you're
That's what a podcast is. It's minimal editing, so.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was thinking you kind of want to keep it to the bare bones of editing, but if you had the chance,
Anyway, so I thought of this great little car from the late 80s, early 90s that was doomed to fail from the start. It was called the Cadillac Elante, and Cadillac made this car to sell other cars. It was something that they could put on the front of the lot, and people go, that's really expensive, but kind of cool. Maybe I should buy a different Cadillac. And be like, oh man, this thing comes with gold keys? What? Why did it come with gold keys? Oh my god,
the gold keys.
Cadillac, why did it come with gold keys? Why? So anyway, and they're like, there was like people who still own their Elantes, like it's rubbing off now and everything else. Like it's
If they were to make this, they would have to have the clicker thing plated in gold.
yeah, all the chrome on the key fob would be gold. It had to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
it has to be.
anyway, but yeah, so like the Elante though, what was special about it was supposed to be showcasing what GM would be able to do in future years. Like this thing had a CD player, which to us now in 2020, a car to have a CD player is extremely rare. Again,
Well, it's outdated, yeah.
exactly, because everyone just plugs in their phone, does it over Bluetooth.
Yeah.
You know, I'm lucky. I still have.
It's rare for the opposite reason.
I still have an audio jack because I, went with the better company.
I don't have Bluetooth in my car because, again, advanced for its time. Its time was 2004.
Yeah. Well, like that. So anyway, so like the Elante had a CD player in '89. My mom bought a 2005 PT Cruiser. It didn't have a CD player. She had to get one put in. Like CD players.
My mom's 2000. Like CD players were a big thing from like I feel like early 2000s to about 2011 when my mom bought her car, which has a CD player, and basically every car we have that's older that is that car older has a CD player. The two newer cars that we have now, nope.
Yeah.
No CD player.
My mom has a 2015 Nissan Rogue now. It still has a CD player. We treasure it. And because we all realize.
I use my CD player. I have CDs that I like.
Yeah, me too. I have CDs. I have to like.
They cost a lot of money.
Like I swear I'm going to get like if I ever get a car that doesn't have a CD player, I'm going to take it to Best Buy and get a CD player put in it, or something like that.
Oh hey, do what the Tiburon had. Have the aftermarket head unit that has a CD player, a Bluetooth, and aux jack and everything.
Yeah, it's probably my
my
had a '98 Mustang that had CD player, Bluetooth, aux unit, USB port, the whole 9 yards.
It's so nice. Mine broke, and then for the next for like my next Christmas, my parents got me a new one.
That's awesome.
Because they aren't that expensive, and they're really nice to have.
Yeah. So, but anyway.
Yeah, my volume got stuck at full.
I remember.
So I needed a new one, or else I was going to be blaring down the road. Which I mean, I did blare down the road anyways. But
oh my god, I actually remember that because it was like right around the time in high school you and I started talking again.
It was so loud.
I remember because I was walking. I was walking somewhere after school, and I just see this white Hyundai just zoom past me with music literally blaring. You could hear it for 3 blocks, and the next day I'm sitting there telling somebody about it. And you're like, "Oh yeah, it's me."
Yeah,
that was me.
Guilty.
Like I'll never forget that because at that point I didn't know what car you drove yet, so it's just like I had no idea.
The best part about that is it was the stock speakers, so you know that it was stuck at max volume.
Oh my gosh, my friend, another one of my friends had a Jeep.
Oh, is it
Liberty?
Is it a Wrangler? Oh, Liberty. Okay.
One of the ones that was built off of one of the ones where Jeep took the PT Cruiser and made it a 4x4.
I have a buddy with a Jeep Patriot, which is the base. His is the base model, so it's front wheel drive 4-cylinder.
Yeah. So anyway, I had a friend who had that, and you had to keep the bass and treble switch in exactly one spot because if you moved it at all, it would blow out the speakers. So like, and the place it had to be was like the bass was super high, so you're just sitting there getting a massage as you're driving down the highway, and you couldn't change it, otherwise it would crank the volume.
See, the Saab is nice because the radio works, so that's a plus. And then it actually came stock. I have the premium sound system, so it came stock with 2 small subwoofers in the deck lid.
Mm-hmm.
So I get all the bass all the time whenever I want it.
Okay, so a little bit of a story time here. One of my favorite car memories will always be I was at school and my mom was like, "Hey, I'm running late from work. Could you see if one of your you already missed the bus." I wasn't really taking the bus at this point, so she goes, "Hey, could you ask if one of your friends if they could give you a ride home?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I go and I ask my friend, we'll call him Rick. I go ask my friend Rick.
Rick.
No! So I go ask my friend Rick. I'm like, hey, could you drive me home? He's like, oh yeah, no, I actually just got a car. He's talking about it. He's like, oh yeah, I'd love to have an excuse to drive. And I'm like, awesome. And we get out there, and it's a '97 Alero.
I love the Alero though.
Not this one.
Okay, but didn't the Alero? Oh wait, no. Okay, I'm thinking of a different car.
Yeah.
So I do like the Alero, but for different reasons.
So this was It was a '97 Alero. It was like teal blue, and we walk out towards it, and I'm like, and I'm seeing there's like some black on the front bumper. I'm like, oh wow, weird. Is that like somebody whoever had it last tried to put performance part? No, it's duct tape. That's duct tape.
Is that the one? Is that the one Alero that was always parked out back behind the high school and had fake vents on the fender?
No, that was somebody who didn't even go to the high school.
Thank God. Thank God. I figured that was a faculty, but like, oh.
Yeah, right. But no, so then I start to look around the car, and I'm like, this is to quote Luke Skywalker, this is a piece of junk. And I'm walking around the car and everything. We get to the back bumper, and I'm like, all right, I'm like, that looks okay. And he goes, if it looks okay, it's because it's held on with zip ties.
Zip ties and duct tape, a mechanic's best friend.
And then I go to put my stuff in the back seat. He opens the back seat, throws his backpack, grabs onto the hubcaps, and tries to bang it onto the back wheel. And he's like, I do this every time I get in. I can't get it. I don't know. I'm like, oh, great. That's great. So then we get...
Does it fall off every time he drives it?
Yep. So anyway, we get in the car, and he starts it, and this thing is so loud.
Hey, loud cars are fun, but only if they're made loud on purpose.
It was not made loud on purpose.
I figured.
So this thing is so loud, and he's like, oh yeah, no, it doesn't really have a muffler. I hope you don't mind. Okay. So then we start to take off.
Was I busy this day or something?
I don't know.
I must have been.
I don't think you and I were really talking at this point yet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This would have been like 2016, 2017. So.
Oh, that was after.
Right at the height of us not talking. So.
Yeah, that was a rough patch.
Yeah. So anyway, we start to take off, and he goes, "Oh yeah, the heater the air conditioning doesn't really work, so I'm gonna roll down the windows. I hope you don't mind." I'm like, "No, go for it." And he rolls down the 3 windows that can, and wonderfully enough, my window is the one that can't roll down. So that's cool. And we're
great. Your right ear probably feels amazing after this ride.
Oh, it's great. So then we're also taking off, and he goes, "Oh yeah, no, there's a crack in the windshield. I don't know what happened there. It wasn't like that when I bought it. I hope you don't mind." No, it's fine, bud. It's all good. And we keep driving, and I'm starting to look around the interior. The thing is a mess. I notice one part of the steering wheel has been chewed through down to the bare metal.
Oh God, that is the worst look ever on a car. I mean, I don't want to offend any of the viewers that may have had that happen to their car. Yeah, it happens to cars when they age, but it just looks so uncomfortable.
It really does. And all those things. He's like, and then just to put the nail in the coffin, if you'll forgive the pun, he turns to me and goes, "Oh, by the way, I have a concussion right now. I hope you don't mind."
He's dealing with all this loud noise.
Yep.
Was he okay?
Yeah, he was fine. We got home. He drove me home. I got out immediately and said, "Goodbye, I'll see you at school tomorrow." And yeah. But the best part of the whole thing is halfway there he goes, "Here, I'll try to drown out some of the road noise." It's his car. It's not really road noise, but whatever. And he turns on the radio. Best sound system I've ever heard in a car.
Really?
And it was stock. He did nothing to it. It was stock.
Better than mine?
Better than yours, honest to God.
Really?
The '97 Alero. If you're looking for a good sound system.
I've only ever heard one sound system in a car that is competitive with mine, and that was from I think it's 2018 Jeep Cherokee.
But no, it was an interesting day, to say the least.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit of fun there.
And then the moral of the story is he totaled it a week later.
What?
Yeah.
I don't remember anyone in our school going...
He had a parked car.
Oh. Was he okay?
Yeah, he was fine.
After,
he was a little shaken up.
Car.
He was a little shaken up, and he was alright. Yeah.
That kind of sums up our high school in one story, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of does. But anyway, I guess we've kind of briefly talked about the future of the car industry.
We talked about future, but
like,
then again, we kept saying the past is the future.
It really is. Like,
if you keep bringing back old cars as electric models, that will definitely spark some interest in the community. But it essentially isn't much progress from where we're at, though.
No. All I'm gonna say is, Chevy, I'm waiting for my electric El Camino.
Same. That would be so much fun.
Oh man, I feel like that would be a more direct. I feel like that would be a more direct competitor for the Cybertruck. Would be an electric El Camino.
But if they do an electric El Camino, there needs to be an option to put it into rear-wheel drive so that I can do some fun stuff in it.
Probably would be. But no, we briefly brought up the future of the car industry, and I mean, like, it's no lie, it's no secret that the future of the car industry is electric vehicles.
Yes and no, because electric vehicles, they do still have a large carbon footprint to them, and I would like to see.
I'd like to see that eliminated.
Options.
I'd like to see. I mean, there's still technology that needs to be assessed. There's still things that need to be done. But
for the time being, electric cars is the future.
Yes. I mean, I feel like the real, true future is going to be, gas-powered cars. I'm talking 60, 70 years in the future. It's going to be like gas-powered cars. You need a permit to drive them, but you can have them. Everyone's driving electric cars, self-driving cars.
It's going to be me.
Yeah.
There's going to be, if we can ever figure out how to make them safe, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they're quite a bit less polluting than the two options that we've talked about. And of course, there's more options out there. We've only talked about the two main ones that are in the foreseeable future.
I saw a concept car a long time ago, which was really, really cool. It was a hydrogen fuel cell car that could be different cars depending on what body you put on it. It was all the same chassis. But, like, something, like, you put the body on it, and suddenly it would change how the car drove. It was a really, really interesting concept. There was no physical vehicle. It was just like a thought. But
I mean, in China, I'm pretty sure that they've made hydrogen fuel cell vehicles somewhat mainstream thing, as in the same sense that electric vehicles are a mainstream thing here.
Yeah.
They're not, but they're more mainstream than most of the other ideas that we have. And
most of the other alternatives. Honestly, like, one of my favorite cars I've ever driven was one of the cars I learned to drive in for doing driver's ed, which was a 2016, I think it was a 2016 Ford Fusion Hybrid.
Yeah, I've never actually driven a hybrid or an electric car, so I really shouldn't have a say on whether they're fun or not. I'd imagine they are quite fun.
Yeah, honestly, I had a lot of fun driving that Fusion. It was a great experience. I want a Fusion.
They're not crazy expensive, but
I think the Fusion's
they do have.
I wouldn't purchase anything else from Ford.
I'm not a Ford guy myself. I mean, Corvette like.
Yeah, the Fusion is my exception. But yeah, no, like, I'm just saying,
my exception definitely is Bronco.
We've talked a lot about the past, but I think what we're trying to get at here is that the past really is the future when it comes to vehicles. Because we're going to... I mean, essentially that's kind of... The past will always be the future no matter what you're talking about. because we have to improve, otherwise we're not going to do anything. And the only way we can improve is taking what we had and making it better. I mean, that's literally the definition of improving. Like...
Yeah. And, I mean, yeah, and we've talked about how like, a lot of these new cars are improving on what's already there, and they're bringing technology that has only been kind of like in our thoughts, only ideas up until now.
Yeah, that
the
and
Hummer was never thought of as a fuel-efficient 0 to 60 in 3 second car, but now all of a sudden it is.
Yeah, and also all of these cars that are coming out now don't have CD players, and we need to change that.
Hey, I'm all for electric vehicles, but I've made it very clear that if there's not a manual transmission in it, it's not going to be mine.
And I'm making it very clear, I'm cool with a Tesla, but if it don't got a CD player...
So, Tesla, GM, whoever's building the next big electric car, hear me out.
Player.
I need a transmission, he needs a CD player. Make one for the people.
Do it for us. Do it for us.
Just the two of us. The rest of the people don't matter. Just the two of us people.
Exactly, come on.
Like, I don't know how many CDs I'd have to buy.
I literally bought a Panic at the Disco CD like 2 weeks ago, so...
I have over 1,500 songs on my Spotify playlist. Actually, probably more than that now. Probably closer to 2,000. Either way, I don't think I could afford the CDs that I would need to buy for that.
Yeah, I don't think I could either.
So, they wouldn't fit in my car either way.
The entire back seat is just shelves of CDs.
No, it would be passenger seat, back seat, trunk, engine bay.
Frunk.
Yeah, pull the engine, throw CDs in there.
It was like, alright, don't worry, we got good music, but you're gonna have to push. Let's go.
Yeah, alright. You guys push, I'll steer, and then we'll all be jamming out.
It's perfect. It's the perfect plan, guys. I don't see anything wrong with this.
I have like 3 CDs that I listen to a good amount, and I still have, I still have, back home, I still have a record player that's like a 3-in-1 or something like that, or 5-in-1.
Right here. You can see it in the camera. You'll see it in the video when it comes out on Wednesday. I'm pointing at my record player right now.
I'll be watching
in my room. It's underneath my lamp.
Just a
my lamp.
Disclaimer for the people. I can't see him. He can see me.
Yeah, I can see him, but he can't see me because I need to record his face cam. And if I'm doing that,
I don't know if
I can't record
earlier.
mine. So, but yeah, no, I have a record player. I have 3 albums. I have Duran Duran, Panic at the Disco, and the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack.
I've got all the albums from Rise Against, a couple Beatles. Oh gosh, I'd have to go home and check them all out. I've got 45, 33 and a third, and 78.
We are off topic.
Everything.
We are so off topic.
Oh yeah, the podcast where you talk about just about everything.
You're right. It's a podcast about everything. You want to talk about old school music collections though? All of my CDs I have burned to my Xbox 360. My entire CD library is on my Xbox 360. So,
well, now you don't need a CD player in your new electric car. You just need a place to put your Xbox. So now they just need to add the transmission.
So sorry guys, you're gonna have to sit in the back. I keep the Xbox up front.
Hey, can someone change the music? Who has a controller?
Oh shit, it's out of battery. I guess we're stuck on Muse for a little bit. Stop at a gas station here, pick up the new battery.
Probably gonna edit that part out.
I don't know, we'll see what happens.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh my god, who unplugged the HDMI cord? Who unplugged the HDMI cord? It's like on a road trip. I was like, what the heck? Come on. I was listening to that.
Come on, guys. Why did you unplug the music?
It just...
That Xbox controls the damn music. Plug it back in.
Just imagine...
That's what he's talking about.
Just imagine it suddenly goes from, like, John Denver to Call of Duty sounds.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Honestly, that's my Spotify playlist anyways.
It's Call of Duty sounds.